Hi everyone, I'm really thrilled to be here. I'm Vivian Miller from the University of Texas at Arlington. I'm here with Dr. Courtney Cronley and Melinda Kitchens, and we're from the School of Social Work at UT Arlington. So the title of our presentation is How Can Interdisciplinary Teams Leverage Emerging Technologies to Respond to Transportation Infrastructure Needs, where we did a mixed methods evaluation of civil engineering, urban planners, and social workers' perspectives. So the purpose of our presentation today is to emphasize the utility of interdisciplinary practice among social workers, urban planners, and transportation, civil engineers, and public planning. Identify interdisciplinary efforts to improve transportation equity for community members. I'll briefly provide some examples of interdisciplinary projects that informed this study, that was also included in a part of this study, and then discuss interdisciplinary use of app technologies to improve transportation equity. So we used a sequential mixed methodological study design where we sampled professionals from civil engineering, social work, and public planning, practice professionals, all frontline in the community, where we did focus groups and online surveys to elicit feedback regarding the collaboration and use of new technologies to increase transportation equity. So a bit on interdisciplinary practice. Interdisciplinary research and interdisciplinary practice allows for professionals to break out of their traditional silos and solve problems in innovative solutions, really borrow methodologies and ideas from fellow disciplines and work together to come up with innovative new solutions. So specifically, with regards to historically marginalized at-risk populations and EJ populations in the community, social workers really have an awareness of transportation impact on EJ populations. Social workers working with vulnerable at-risk populations in the communities and really understand the transportation needs and really high transportation challenges experienced by the populations we serve. And also really understand social services within the communities and the service opportunities to meet the needs of these populations. Civil engineers seeking to address the needs of EJ populations are really looking at decision-making processes to better develop transportation solutions to solve these challenging problems. And public planners understand the costs associated with transportation solutions and provide information and resources to those. EJ, sure, environmental justice. So environmental justice are historically marginalized at-risk populations, including individuals of low income, minorities, older adults, persons with disabilities, persons experiencing homelessness. Sure. So transportation equity and access to opportunities, overall this mobility and transportation access allows for individuals to participate in social activities and engage with other people in the community, access jobs, food, education, health services, etc. Oops. So phase one of this mixed method study, we conducted focus groups with practice professionals in the community, a total of 6 focus groups, and we had a sample of 27 focus group participants. Here are some demographic graphs here, where in our next slide we have professional disciplines, including social workers, civil engineers, and transportation planners that participated in these focus groups. So we had 4 primary questions that we asked participants throughout this study for the focus groups. The first was, what skills or knowledge regarding transportation systems and users do engineers, planners, and social workers require in their professions? The second was, to what extent do engineers, planners, and social workers interact regarding transportation infrastructure and policy? The third, to what extent could engineers, planners, and social workers utilize the data and features within new technologies to accomplish their jobs more effectively? And what benefits do professionals see for engineers, planners, and social workers to interact together when making transportation infrastructure and policy decisions within communities? So the results from the focus groups, first, professionals reported really what their role was. And the first finding that we had was advocacy. One participant reported that they kept advocating for the needs of their clients with regards to providing transportation. Being able to speak that and keep advocating for their clients served was really important within their profession. Information gathering was another finding of focus groups. Gathering information from the clients to then provide that as a resource. Funding requires the profession to focus on seniors and persons with disabilities for job access. Additionally, professionals reported that referrals and kind of being a brokering service was important within their profession. Speaking with people over the phone and giving a lot of options to transportation, really understanding the services within the community and making those referrals. Lastly, policy and data. This was specifically a planner reported that they need to understand the kind of services that might be appropriate for different kinds of markets. Also familiar with federal regulations, FTA, and really how that plays out within the community and the changes that take place with that. For the second research question, participants reported that meeting-based interdisciplinary contact was how they currently engaged in these interdisciplinary efforts within their professions. One individual was part of a task force where they met on a monthly basis, and they reported that this was the engagement and interaction that they had across transportation planners and civil engineers and social work. Another reported that there's siloed work, so there isn't not necessarily a lot of interdisciplinary work going on, that their profession really does stay within their silos. And they're dealing with the frustrations of their clients who can't really get benefits from transportation services, and they don't really know where to go. So there isn't currently that cross-disciplinary engagement working in the professional practice. It hasn't really been presented to them. For the third research question, individuals shared that collecting longitudinal data was this new innovation that they could leverage to really best understand the needs of the populations they serve and then provide innovative solutions to meet those needs. So collecting longitudinal data was one solution of leveraging this new technology, as well as crowdsource and real-time data. Individuals said it'd be very helpful to collect the data, to make the point, and then understanding at that point in time the needs of the community members and clients served. For the fourth research question, the benefits of this interdisciplinary collaboration, participants shared that overall it would improve services for these at-risk vulnerable populations. Social service agencies all have to talk. Engineers don't know unless we tell them because we're the ones that are actually working with, and say even though it's not necessarily me, our agency is the one that are actually working with the clients. In other words, there has to be communication across these practice professionals to improve the services for these community members. Another benefit that focus group participants stated was that it would enhance their understanding of other disciplines and that it would enhance future research and planning. So following these focus groups, these 6 focus groups, there was subsequent quantitative surveys that were sent out, again, to social workers, planners, and civil engineers. We had a sample size of 177 participants who shared really features of this new app technology that would be most beneficial for really assessing the needs of the community members and then providing solutions. So again, we had social workers, civil engineers, and planners, and a similar discipline where primarily collecting longitudinal data, where disciplines identified the utility of collecting crowdsourced and real-time data, capturing data over time to assess for differences, and utilizing apps to collect data allowed for long-term judgment regarding trends in the needs of the populations. So within this survey that was sent out to participants, they ranked features of a mobile device app to collect transportation activity data, where these are the features that were most noted. Interactive map without GPS was really highly ranked across all professions. Open-ended questions allowing for a text response from users, multilingual text, regional transportation resources for individuals to be able to go into the app and access what kind of transportation services there were for community members. Maps with GPS, just a GPS feature. Questions about preferred transportation mode versus actual transportation mode. Features to capture longitudinal data, again, and embedded national transportation resources beyond just the scope of regional resources. Asynchronous resources, crowdsourced data, and the interactive map. Again, crowdsourced and real-time data was another piece of this technology where disciplines identified that this would be really great at allowing for more in-depth perceptive data from individuals utilizing this and gathering narrative data really through those open-ended questions would be beneficial. So overall, we were looking at implications for cross-professional collaborations and the benefits of this. Really adequately serving these at-risk populations requires reevaluating these assumptions and practices within transportation and social work professions to better understand the transportation gaps that are existing and the needs of vulnerable populations, where we can all leverage our unique skills to come together and better understand the needs of community members. So a couple of strengths from this study. The mixed method design allowed us to measure both the degree to which professionals across disciplines recognize a need for interprofessional approaches, as well as the quality of this recognition. And with this mixed methods design, a triangulated design allowed us to make more specific recommendations about these increasingly interprofessional transportation practices. So that concludes our presentation, and thank you to the team and to NITSE for funding the Small Starts project out of UT Arlington.